Καλησπέρα. Πονσάκης Φράγκος, Rock Hard, Rock Hard TV, Rock Hard Greece, όπως θέλετε πείτε το. Είμαστε εδώ πέρα, προσπαθώ να δω, όντως είναι η πρώτη φορά που κάνουμε live chat. Είναι και η πρώτη φορά που κάνει και ο Hansi live chat, οπότε θα μπούμε σε μία διαδικασία ψάχνοντας και βρίσκοντας και οι δυο μας να δοκιμάσουμε και να κάνουμε το πρώτο μας αυτό live chat. Χαζεύω λοιπόν εδώ πέρα, έχει αρχίσει ήδη και μπαίνει αβέρτα κόσμος. Προσπαθώ και εγώ να βρω, μόλις μπήκε και ο Hansi. Πάρα πολύ ωραία. Λοιπόν, είμαστε ok. Λογικά θα φανεί και ο Hansi Kursch στον Blind Guardian επίσης. Hey Hansi!
Oh, how are you? I just have to say farewell to my friends. I suck it. How are you?
We finally found it.
Yeah. I'm the master of Instagram now.
Yeah, I have been here before you. I'm the first master. You are the second master of Instagram.
Come on.
I was doing a rehearsal at 3 o'clock after midnight, so that no one could see that we were how we should do the Instagram live.
Yeah, I was thinking about that a little later, but you got my messages, so I was as prepared.
Yeah, but I think it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, I have to admit it is.
When you do it, it's easy.
Even for the odd thoughts.
You know, I had the phone in horizontal position, so I was trying to read who is into this, and I was something like this, you know.
I would have to do the same. I see people are, joining the chat. Hi there.
So, hello to everyone. I have gathered many questions, and some are very funny, very interesting. It's going to be really fun, and there are many great questions outside the box, which is really great.
Questions. I hope I am prepared.
Yeah. First of all, now that the Bundesliga has started, which is your favorite team in Bundesliga?
I am considered to be a local patriot, so if I had to choose a team here, it would be Borussia Mönchengladbach, because that's a neighbor city of Krefeld, and therefore that would be my favorite team. Other than that, I'm more of a supporter of Borussia Dortmund than Bayern München, but all in all, I'm getting old, so I'm not following it too much, especially not without people joining the games in the stadium. That's total boredom for me.
Yeah, it's boredom, and it's even very dangerous for the athletes. That
I have no idea. I mean,
easily.
Well, I mean, they know the risks, and they're professionals. So here, I would say most of them, they support the idea of getting back to normal mode. So that is absolutely fine with me. I'm just curious when concerts and stuff like this are going to happen again. And as you told me, being in Greece on the weekend, having 40 degrees and not being allowed to go to the beach, that is a pain in the ass. That's when it becomes really a tough game.
I thought I was okay, but I had a third shower 10 minutes before doing this interview, because it's almost 37, 38 degrees right now.
It's wonderful here. We have sunny weather, like maybe 20 degrees. It's beautiful. And as you see, I'm in the Blind Guardian studio. We're preparing stuff. So things here are quite okay, I have to say.
So, can you tell me, Sean has asked, what microphone do you use in the studio to record vocals?
I'm using different one. Right at the moment, it's U49.
Akis has asked, will you be in the next Arion album? Can you reveal it? Because Arian is doing some videos and he's revealing the guests once in a while.
Well, it would be a secret I would spoil if I said yes, if I were involved, but I'm not involved. So
yeah, okay.
I don't even have an idea who's going to be on the album. I haven't spoken to anyone who, you know, actually takes part in the vocal recording. I'm good friend with Joost van den Broek, who's always involved in the process.
He has played in Demons and Wizards with you anyway.
Yes, yeah, and he's also partly involved in Blind Guardian activities. We met each other because of Arian, but he hasn't spoken about any vocalists either, at least not that I remember.
What I can reveal is that you have best greetings from Arian himself.
Arian is a good guy.
He's one of the guys I contacted to do live chat a few days ago, and he promised to be one of the next guys. But as soon as he finishes the videos from all the participants in the Arion album, so that he doesn't spoil anything. So
next year, I would say then, or the over next year.
If he keeps on revealing guests week after week, it will take at least a year.
Yeah, I mean, he's a busy guy, and especially if he's, you know, joining all the vocalists for videos, or probably even recording some of them. He's a crazy guy. But if you talk to him, send him my regards. He's a very good guy. Very nice guy.
He told me to give you his best regards. He really loves you.
He better should.
Stephanie asks, what do you think when the crowd sings non-stop Valhalla at your concerts?
Yeah, it became a trend, I have to say. It was something initiated around the Blind Guardian festivals. I would say that's when we realized that the first time, but it was on a lower level, and on the DVD we featured that even more than it actually took part. But this was so captivating for people, so they established that even more to become a natural part of our shows. I love it, I have to say. It's something to play with. Sometimes, you know, it's difficult to interrupt the people. On the other hand, we don't want to interrupt them. So it extends our suffering on stage, that's for sure. But other than that, it's pure fun.
Yeah. If George asks, if you were to play another album from the beginning to the end, like you did with Imaginations, which would it be?
Yeah, we're getting into subjects. I would love to do Nightfall, but that might take a while until we do it. But there are other great albums, like Somewhere for Sure is an album which easily could be done live and would be enjoyable for the fans and us as well. But I mean, that would be probably the hardest toil. An album like A Night at the Opera would be a trip too, but that is really difficult. So yeah, I would stay with Nightfall and Somewhere Far Beyond.
Mm-hmm. Peter asks, how did you spend your time during the quarantine? Did it affect the production of the next Blind Guardian album?
The biggest obstacle for any Blind Guardian album is the band Blind Guardian itself, because, you know, the more time we have to, you know, spend on thinking about things, the longer it's going to take. Basically, the quarantine did not interfere with our plans according to the pre-productions, which we're in at the moment. And it also has no impact on the production, maybe a little bit, because Charlie Bauerfeind was stuck in Tenerife for a while. I think he left Spain a few days ago and is now in quarantine somewhere in Bavaria. And the regular production is going to start once he's out of the quarantine. So far, everything is working according to plan. The fun always starts once we start the real production, because then the intense discussions start, and they sometimes mislead us, or at least bring up some new questions and new ideas, which have to be considered an opportunity. But yeah, my plan still is to finish this album at the end of this year. Corona has an impact on our plannings of touring activities in 21, of course. That is now already an issue, which might force us to postpone the real Blind Guardian tour for the next album into 2022. But that is not ultimately decided. But for now, we are more considering a very defensive touring in 2021, but we will do a few shows in 2021.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there are obvious questions about Greece and if you come to Greece in 2021. However, I know firsthand that this cannot be said and arranged.
Right at the moment, there's no chance. I mean, even Germany is difficult to judge if there is any possibility for shows in general. But we are trying to adjust to the situation and main the best possibilities for us to play in 21, at least a few shows.
You know, the problem is that you cannot even tour with a tour bus because no tour buses are being left. They have fired all the drivers because there are no tours. No one can drive a bus.
Yeah.
So there are no tour buses right at this moment, and no tours can be scheduled whatsoever.
Yeah, that is true, and there is a bunch more of these problems to show up over the next few months. I'm pretty sure. It is just a question if the authorities somehow can relate to this and give the industry some beneficial support.
Mm-hmm. Lita has asked, do you read reviews on your music, especially on social media? Does it affect you?
It has a very small effect and affect me not a lot, I have to say, because you grow into it, and especially if we speak about social medias and an spontaneous impulse by people, I and everyone in the music scene has to protect him or herself for reviews or criteria like this. I don't read too many reviews, I have to say, even when it comes to press. Of course, when there is a new album like The Last Demons and Wizards, I'm checking if the media likes it, and I'm also checking if there is a general appreciation of things. But I do not explore too deep into such regions because it's useless. It won't lead you anywhere. Of course, there's always a fan who wants a band to reproduce a certain era and a certain feeling, but especially for Blind Guardian, this is impossible. We like to explore new things and want to go in a new direction, and it would be too confusing if I went into too many discussions about that, or if I considered a review or response by a single person as relevant.
Yeah. Another relevant question from Kostas about this is, would you return to more traditional way of playing with more straightforward songs with duration of 5 or 6 minutes?
Most of the stuff we do doesn't feel too different to us to what we did in the past. So technically, it's always possible that there is a song like this, appearing to people like old school, and they will appreciate. But on the other hand, we may have done such songs and people complain about it because it's still not the same spirit than 20 years ago. So our focus and our angle is always towards future and towards new elements which can be woven in and we feel comfortable with in the universe of Blind Guardian. That is more likely. I mean, I never understood how someone could not relate Punishment Divine as a very intense song. Neither, you know, I could understand that people did not, you know, appreciate a song like This Will Never End as much as they probably do appreciate Journey Through the Dark, because for us it is the same but in a modern garment. And yeah, this always goes on. So we feel more secure if we just follow our own senses, and if we make mistakes, it should be our mistakes. And you know, I would feel bad if I try to copy an album like Somewhere Far Beyond, for example. I even think that's impossible anyway.
Mm-hmm. Thodoris asks, if you were to make a project with another musician, with a musician other than John Shepherd, who would it be? Not like a, I think that he asks more like a wish, not like as a reality.
I've been asked that question and I should have thought about it, but I really don't think about it like this, you know. I like to work with, you know, whoever has a creative idea, and names don't mean too much to me. So that is very difficult to answer, almost impossible to answer. There wouldn't be any specific name. I'm a big Peter Gabriel fan, so if he appreciated what I'm doing, and I had the chance to, you know, involve him in a Blind Guardian production or Demons and Wizards, that would be certainly a trip for me.
Mm-hmm. Tom asks, what do you enjoy most in being in a band like Blind Guardian? Perhaps the conversation, the lengthy conversations about the, about the direction of the album.
I have to admit that this sometimes is tiresome. The creativity, the surprises when first ideas for a new album will be exchanged, and then working on new material. Sometimes it strikes me immediately, and it's almost like a vision. There is a clear picture what to do with stuff, and that is the most thrilling moment of being an artist for me.
George asks, is there anything special that you do before you go on stage, like a ritual?
Not really. I mean, we try to clap each hand, and yeah, we try to talk to each other. That is the case in Blind Guardian and also in Demons and Wizards. We wish each other sort of good luck, but this is it. I'm not very superstitious, so if that is not going to happen, I won't necessarily have a bad show. I feel better if I spoke to everyone, or, you know, at least, you know, sent my regards to everyone prior to a show, but it's not a necessity, and I assume that is the same with all the members in Demons and Wizards and Blind Guardian.
A friend from Brazil, Paulo, asks, which is your favorite non-rock or non-metal artist?
Peter Gabriel. That's rock, right?
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, there are many. It's like Joni Mitchell is great. Is it Angelo Branduardi, Lorena McKennitt? Mm-hmm. That is the stuff I'm listening to.
Mm-hmm. What have you been listening to during the quarantine? I can't find the name of the person who.
I've been listening to a lot of music. The last metal album I heard that was on the way to the studio was Denim and Leather Now. And basically, as mentioned before, I'm listening to almost everything. This is the studio, but I mean, we're usually listening to vinyl and there's like Deep Purple, David Bowie, Led Zeppelin, all that stuff. I mean, on
is it like the corner that Mike Portnoy had in Dream Theater, and the inspiration corner that he was saying he was having albums by who, by that's your inspiration corner in studio.
Life is a good inspiration. That music, yeah, somehow, of course, if I'm listening to it, it for sure has an impact later on. But when working on Blind Guardian stuff, I really try to keep my focus on, you know, whatever the music demands from me. I think really the passion for music and the skill of listening to music over, I don't know, how old am I? 53. I'm turning 54 in August. Yeah, that of course had an influence on the music I'm doing.
I'm trying to read some questions right now. Sue asks, what are you reading at the moment?
Still, the Stormlight archives. I'm short before the actual end of, what is it, the third book, I think. I finished Freakonomic. I read I'm reading a historical book about Germany and about history and the relation of time, or how time is realized by basically the people in charge around that time and by the regular citizen, and that's by an English guy called Christopher Clark. And I also read a biography about Cervantes.
Mm-hmm.
That is basically the 3 books I'm reading at the moment. And usually whenever I'm reading, you know, I try to find some elements which I might be able to use for Blind Guardian lyrics, or when I work for Demons Wizards, of course, Demons Wizards. And usually it always works. There is something I can take as an essence from whatever I'm reading, and it will have an impact on the lyrical direction.
I'm leaning my head on the left.
I see that.
So
I'm not even trying. I just see it running through, but I you know,
yeah, I'm trying to catch up with all these. And which is your favorite hard rock band? And he's writing it. You legend. He's saying that in Greece, mythem means legend. Which is your favorite hard rock band?
My favorite hard rock band is Deep Purple. That will never change.
Which era of Deep Purple do you?
Yeah, almost every era, I have to say. I'm not so much in the Jolene Turner stuff, and I'm more a Gillan guy than I'm a Coverdale Hughes guy, even though I admire Coverdale, but I somehow am not so thrilled when Glenn Hughes is singing. He's a fantastic musician and a great songwriter, but to me personally, he's overdoing it sometimes in Deep Purple. I like the Mark II era, but the best season for me is probably Perfect Strangers to Better Rages On.
Mm-hmm. Demons and Wizards, do Demons and Wizards have a forecast for 2021 to tour America, passing through Brazil? Another guy from Brazil, I think it's a cover band from Demons and Wizards.
Then they should play the stuff there. I don't see Demons and Wizards playing before, certainly not before 22, I would say, because next year it's impossible. And
guys to Hansi and John and play.
Say it again, please.
They will disguise to John and Hansi and play themselves, because
it's not that difficult these days. You just have to turn old.
Yeah, I don't understand the name, but he or she asks, do you sympathize with Finor? Why did you use that nickname?
I did use Fëanor. I think that is more Andres type of a nickname. If I had to choose one, it would be Fingolfin, and you know, I'm more the Lord of the Rings Fangorn supporter. That is, you know, my type of thing. Fëanor is a cool guy. It's a cool, cruel guy. He's a genius. So it's difficult.
A cool, cruel guy. Okay.
It's difficult not to like him, and without him, there wouldn't be any story like the Silmarillion. He plays a very vital and important role, but I like Fingolfin more for sure.
Another one asks, do you plan any issue of the DVD Imagination Through the Looking Glass? Because it's not so easy for the young fans to find it now.
I would have to talk to Nuclear Blast, who now have the rights to release it. It's so out of fashion, you know, people don't buy DVDs anymore. So this might be a difficult accomplishment, but since the situation is what it is, maybe it makes sense to have this material as a bonus DVD for the next regular Blind Guardian album or something like this. I really haven't thought about it.
I think it's the only way nowadays to for a DVD release to find its way as a bonus.
That is true. I would not see any other chance to do so. But I never say never. I really have to speak to Nuclear Blast and then see what they have in mind. We may, you know, come up with stuff like this during the next month and years, because, you know, with all the anniversaries which we already have missed, it totally makes sense to.
Yesterday was the anniversary of Battalions of Fear. Your debut album.
Yeah, and that is the 32nd, I believe. But we have the 10th anniversary of At the Edge of Time. We have the 25th anniversary of Imaginations, and the 30th of Tales from the Twilight World. And I mean, obviously, Twilight World has had the 25th anniversary. We should have done something with it. We will not miss that for Imaginations from the Other Side, for sure.
Mm-hmm. At one time, comics based on Beyond the Red Mirror and Legacy of the Dark Lands were planned. Is it still on your list? Another question.
I mean, Beyond the Red Mirror thing is very painful to me because, I'm sorry, the Legacy of the Dark Lands comic issue is very painful to me because we were very close to accomplishment, but were lacking the final pages, and so couldn't involve it when we released Legacy of the Dark Lands. We had to change all the plans. So this is on hold, and it somehow is difficult for me to scratch it at the moment because there are so many other activities going on with regard to Blind Guardian, but also with all the activities I just have finished for Demons and Wizards. So that for sure is something we will pick up. We may need the 25th anniversary of Legacy of the Darklands, which is a little away from here, but yes.
The 25th anniversary around your late 70s.
Around the late 70s.
Will be okay.
Who knows? We will be around for a little longer, that's for sure.
You will be in the audience, and you will have the hologram like Ronnie James Dio playing it. But you will be alive in the audience.
Yeah, but with this album, the good thing is, even other performers, could just perform it, and it would be nice still. I mean, that's the privilege we have with Legacy of the Darklands. Once we establish it, we are going to play the album live in the future. I mean, I would have said 22, but with Corona and all the stuff going on at the moment, it might take a little longer. And once we have established playing it live, I'm sure we can, give it to theaters and stuff like that. That is possible. We just have to transfer our visions to stage one time. So, there would be a proper setup for people to follow.
Another question, I just missed it, is how do you manage to stay creative now that the world is standing still?
That's a big inspiration, actually, the whole thing which is going on at the moment, with regard to everything. So it has an effect on basically everyone, and it has its frightening moment, however you look at it. and that is somehow influensive and inspiring. So I don't have any problems to consider that to be a time which stands still completely. As everything, you know, when my father passed away, I came up with the basic ideas for the Bart song, or, you know, pieces of Ashes to Ashes have been composed around that time. So even negative things can, you know, be inspiring, and sometimes can be transformed into something positive as well. And this is how I am looking at it. Most of the Blind Guardian stuff for the album had been composed, but I still work on the lyrics. So this for sure has an impact on the lyrics. And what we're doing at the moment, you know, is basically working on creative stuff. So I have the privilege to do that. And that, of course, gives me some leisure moments and some relaxation. So I believe that for an artist, it is still a crisis, but you can still draw something out of it.
Another question that I just saw is that in Curse My Name, there's a line that seems to be from a Jethro Tull song. Is it intentional?
Is that melodious, or is that word-wise?
In Curse My Name.
Yeah, but is that about the lyrics or about...
About the lyrics, about the lyrics.
I would not even know which one.
So it wasn't intentional.
It was not intentional. I usually try to avoid that. You know, even, you know, if I citate something, I would not do that as a strict citation. It would be not linear. And I cannot remember if there was anything which was actually inspired by Jethro Tull at that time. I would say no. I read the Tenure of Kings of Magistrates by John Milton, and it's about Charles I and about the political essay, and, you know, about the justification to kill a superior legal leader, which he was. I mean, he, no matter what he did, and, you know, how it was a definition of how difficult it is to judge such things, because there were reasons for him, you know, to be what he was. And there's no right and wrong. And then it becomes quite obvious in that particular story, I think.
Can you name us your 3 favorite singers that have influenced you more?
Freddie Mercury, I would say. Ian Gillan. And I mean, 3 is not enough. Maybe Peter Gabriel again. But Ronnie Atkins is important. So is Biff Byford. James Hetfield. There is a bunch of vocalists which are important to me.
Is your next album going to be a concept one, George? My friend George asks.
No, that is for sure. It will have diverse lyrics, individual lyrics for each song, and musically, I would consider it to be a speed metal album, but that doesn't mean that the people will receive it as a speed metal album. It for sure is progressive, and it contains some surprising elements, even for me. I mean, there is a progression, especially considering Beyond the Red Mirror and Legacy of the Dark Lands, which I would not have expected. I thought we would be more on the orchestral side still, but it's a very let your hair down album, but complicated as well.
Before reaching the end, a couple of more questions, because as we go on, they were flooding with questions, and I have so many more. So Thomas asks, don't want to keep you more. We said about 30 minutes, we'll keep it short. So Thomas asks, which is the song that you'll never get tired of playing it live?
Most of them. My favorite song on stage, and we don't play it too often, unfortunately, is Time Stands Still. I always enjoy Nightfall. I am, still thrilled by what we did on the Nightfall and Middle-earth album. For me, Valhalla is a song I like to play. It has a strong intensity, and the people love it so much. So it is enjoyable for me.
Marcus asked, would you do a live streaming show on social media in case no shows are allowed? How do you see this thing that's happening in these days?
It for sure is a quality question. I think it's good that bands are doing it. There is a risk of overdoing things. Blind Guardian is not playing too often, so we would not overdo it anyway. I was hoping for a TV show we were supposed to play as a sort of ghost show, and I was hoping that this afterwards would go online. But as it seems in the moment, this is not going to happen. So we have to reconsider other options. In general, the difficulty we are in with Blind Guardian, we haven't really, prepared ourselves with regard to rehearsals because we haven't played for more than, 3 years now. And there are no rehearsals planned. So that is quite difficult. We did 2 acoustic sets in the beginning of the year, though, and they were very entertaining. We enjoyed that a lot. I am not sure if something like this is going to happen during the summer, because as mentioned, once Charlie is here, our main focus will be on the album production, but we may have chances to give signs of life in a different way. It's still not completely out of the room if we're going to do something like this or not. But yeah, I mean, it is also depending on the way we can feature ourselves, because I would not like to have it too rough. I really want something stylish then.
The last question from me: when is the plan to expect the new Blind Guardian album? Right now, at the moment we're talking.
Right now, we discussed about 2 different scenarios. The more possible one is that the album is going to be released in October because of Corona. Sorry again?
October 2021.
October 21, yeah. There is a small chance that we will release in June 2021, but because of what I mentioned before, the live situation, we may postpone the album, so it fits more to what we do with regard to live activities. So the album should be ready in the beginning of 21 at the very latest, if I'm proven wrong, because as I said, my goal is still, let's say, Christmas.
You haven't started the conversations yet. The conversations are not heated.
No, we have not. But what we do is we are going to have a rehearsal in a few days from now. So with regard to the new songs, and this is when the real conversation start. Of course, we did a lot in the pre-production. We did pre-production with Joost van den Broek and also with Tommy Geiger. And the songs proceeded into the right direction. So we all have a picture of the song and of the songs. And so far, no one is complaining too much. So I'm still in good hope, but that might disappear within the next 2-3 weeks. And of course, Charlie also has his word in, the final arrangements and in the way the production is considered to be driven, but that needs to wait until he's here.
My friend Nick asks, Iron Maiden or Metallica?
To me, Metallica.
Yeah, and you have worked with Flemming Rasmussen. you haven't worked with Martin Birch.
that would change everything. I'm supporting both bands, and I believe that both bands are very creative. I'm liking their old stuff more than their new stuff, so I'm not that different than most diehard fans. They like the old stuff more. But I don't know, maybe it's because we started our career when Metallica was just, becoming bigger and bigger, and Maiden had been established already. But for me, Metallica was more of a role model, and pieces, at least, of their philosophy in creating new music is more in line with what Blind Guardian is doing than, the traditional direction Iron Maiden is taking.
So Hansi, thank you very, very much for this. I'm very grateful you accepted
Pleasure.
my invitation. Give the best to Frederick, to Andrea, to Marcus, and all the guys. And hope we can meet each other very, very soon after this quarantine is over and you start touring.
Yeah, you owe me a beer.
Yeah, a couple. Make it a couple.
So enjoy the rest of the day, and I hope we can come back
to
Greece very, very soon.
The best to your family. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Cheers.
Cheers.